Oh, you going to shoot from up here? We shoot from down there?
No, we'll get that later. We'll get this.
Okay. All right.
We're now looking at the 7th and 8th grade ball players and the cheerleaders coming across the field.
We'll pick this up here.
Next, we have the 7th and 8th grade football team and their coaches.
We're now looking at coming across the field.
We now have the 7th and 8th grade London's football team coming across the field with the coaches. Richard Cunningham is their head coach. Looks like we have a pretty good turnout this year for junior high football.
We got Zeke Caldwell here with Gary McNeil. And Zeke, I think we're looking for a pretty good season we got coming up here. They're showing the 7th and 8th grade team there, and they look like they're pretty good sized kids. I seen someone at 8th grade look like they go over 6 foot, 6'1".
I'll tell you what, with the kids they've got coming up through this program, they ought to have a fine program for a few years.
Now we got the freshmen and reserves, varsity cheerleaders, and their coach. They'll be coming across the field now.
Garrett.
That's good. That's a good close-up, Carl. You'll be, matter of fact, I didn't tell you before that we'll be working with Zeke Caldwell and myself, David Zeke Caldwell, and this will be his first year with us. Glad to have you aboard, Zeke.
Glad to be here.
Sounds like Zeke's a man of few words, so probably whatever he says is really going to mean something, so you're going to have to listen close. Okay, we got the cheerleaders doing a fantastic cheer here. Okay, folks, varsity and reserve cheerleaders.
2, 3, 4, come on, crowd, let's go! Red and white, come on, crowd, red, black, red and white, Raiders, fight, fight!
Well, if the boys play half as hard as the cheerleaders cheer, we ought to have a pretty good game tonight.
Once again, we're getting ready for just having a little warm-up here for the preview game. And I have an ex-running back for London, superstar, used to be in his own right, Jim Harris. What brings you back this way, Jim?
Well, family reunion and to visit friends and come and see the Red Raiders.
sounds good, man. You're looking good.
Well, so are you, Gary.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't feel as old as we are.
There you go. Where are you now?
Glendale, Arizona.
Glendale, Arizona. Weather's treating you good. You look like one of them Indians, buddy.
Well, I'm not.
I heard that.
You know what I am.
Yeah, all right. We won't go there. Okay. I want you to sit here and rap with Zeke for a little bit, if you don't mind. I got some work to do with Donnie on the field.
All right.
Just feel free just to keep the camera worthy.
Okay.
I'll be right back, Carl.
Better introduce myself to you. Dave Caldwell.
Yeah. Well, I'm Jim Harris. Everybody called me Hap around here.
All right. So you graduated from London then?
1956. Yeah. Played under Coach Bolus here. This was one of the most enjoyable moments in my entire life, being here in high school in London, Ohio, and playing football here. It was great.
I understand. Yeah, I graduated in the 1970s from London. And I played 4 years of varsity football here.
Well, it's looks like it's come a long way in terms of the technical things that we have. We had old 8mm or 16mm film, but the film would break a lot, and amateur cameramen and towers, and we wouldn't get all the plays.
Right. Yeah, it's come a long way. The equipment's come a long way, and coaching's come a long way.
Of course, we had one of the greatest coaches ever to coach high school football here when I was here, Jim Bolus.
I played for Jim Bolus also.
Yeah, then you know.
Yes, he was quite a man.
Yep. Yeah, top notch.
Hey, Sonny, who's this coming on the field now? Girls volleyball?
Yeah.
And now we have coming across the field, it's the girls volleyball team. The Fighting Ladies of the London Red Raiders.
You know what's amazing after being away from here a while is seeing how the schools that used to be in the league, how much bigger those cities have gotten now. Like Westerville has 2 high schools, I understand. Worthington has
2, possibly 3 in the future.
My goodness, yeah. Hilliard's gotten real big.
Hilliard's going to have 2 high schools here before too long.
Marysville, the Honda plant, got big.
Oh yeah, they've gotten big.
Yeah.
Yeah, those the mid-8 days and the mid-6 days are long gone.
Yeah.
And of course, with that, we've had some good rivalries come up. We now play Madison Plains.
I understand you do. Yeah.
And then we do play West Jefferson now. So,
Yeah.
And Jonathan Alders. So we got some county rivalries.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't think it could get any better than that.
Yep.
You know, it was something that we wanted to do when we were young, play the county schools, but they didn't want to play us.
Well, of course, when I played, they didn't have football in the county schools. I mean, there was Madison Plains was Madison South, and they didn't have a football program. So we ended up playing primarily the schools that surrounded Columbus, and that was great. We did very well against them. Yeah, won the league plenty times. Kids are getting bigger and faster, though, aren't they?
Yeah, well, with all the training they have now and the weight programs, that was something we never even did.
Nope.
You know, back until the mid '70s, late '70s, early '80s, weightlifting was unheard of on the football field.
Yep.
You know, all we relied on was our gut and how big we were.
And the exercises that we did, just practicing and practicing the game, you know.
You know, you had the heart to play, you played.
That's it.
You know, it doesn't matter what size, if you got the heart, that's what matters.
That's the key. I think I look back on all the years and all like that, and I played down at Miami for a while and all that. And one of the hardest hits I ever remember was from a guy that weighed about 140 pounds, you know. So it is hard, and knowing how to hit. There's a lot of big guys that, you know, don't really know how to hit.
That's one thing I can say about this coaching staff. These guys are very knowledgeable of what they're doing, and they've had a lot of experience. And the head coach is turning into a real nice find for London High School, and I hope he stays here for a good while.
That's great. That is great.
He's put football back on the map here at London High School, and he's done a real good job. And he's amassed a good bunch of assistant coaches, and that's what it takes.
Yep. Well, it's nice to see the tradition continue. Everywhere I go, I tell people that I'm from London, Ohio, and about the football tradition that we've had, and the, you know.
Okay, once again, this is Gary McNeil. We're at the London Red Raiders football preview game. And I'd like to introduce some of the people. Just a few minutes ago, you heard Jimmy Harris. He's coming here from Arizona. He's one of my high school graduating teammates, was a heck of a running back. Matter of fact, he was all utility everything football player when he was in high school. Don, if you want to pick up Jim. Jim, what do you think about coming back to London after all these years?
Well, it's just great, Gary. It's nice to see that the tradition is being kept up. It looks like they got a great team. The field's in great shape. And, of course, we never had equipment like this. It looks like you've really done a job here, and you should be congratulated. And it's great.
Okay, thanks a lot, Jim. That's Jim Harris. Give me another shot at him, Jim. Look at his hair. This man looks like an Indian. He looks like he belongs in Arizona, don't he? All right, Jim. And then we're going to go to Donnie Kane, and he was a super football player in his own right. Donnie was awful small. He's a testimony that people who are small can really make it in this football game. He didn't play. I don't think he was. Were you a starter in high school, Don?
My senior year, yeah.
Senior year. I know when Don really started, he went on to the Air Force and was all Air Force and all everything. Don King, want to give people a few things?
Well, there's not too much I can say, except I told Gary I'd try to help him with the team this year if possible. I'll give him a little bit of know-how that I know, you know, but that's about the best I can do. I think London's got a pretty good team this year. They look like it. It's pretty big boys, so we'll go from there and let's find out.
I appreciate that. I appreciate you coming and helping, Donnie. I know it's on the spur of the moment. I know we're having a hard time getting people to do things. Most people are afraid to get behind the camera or in front of the camera to do this type of thing, so I really appreciate you coming out and doing this. And last but not least, we have Zeke Caldwell. He's going to be on the announcing team this year. And also Sonny Wheeler, you'll hear his voice come over the intercom. But we're back to Zeke here. Zeke, you played a lot of ball here too, didn't you?
Yeah, it brings back a lot of memories coming down here at this field, and I'm just glad I can come down and put a little bit of my knowledge into this broadcast, and I really appreciate you asking me to come and help you.
All right, thanks a lot, Zeke. And those are Donnie Kane, Zeke Caldwell, and a little bit of myself will be the voices you'll be hearing during the season this year. So we're hoping for a good season, and everybody got to say we got to go with it. Go Raiders. And go thank Raiders. You.
The ball over. We're going to kind of try to do this here. We'll try to give you some names. We don't have a complete roster on London, and we don't have a roster for Miami Trace at all. So you'll just have to bear with us since this is our first game also of the year. And we're just going to play this by ear ourselves. So it looks like London's running a 6-2 type defense here. Miami Trace throws a pass and it's incomplete.
And Donnie, anytime you feel like, you can just jump right in there and get your feet wet. Like I say, we're just practicing, and we're all rookies and we're all learning. So don't worry about making a mistake. Just go with it.
As the season goes on, we'll probably get this more down, and we'll know names, numbers, and we'll try to really do a nice job for you. London's still in that 6-2 defense. Miami Trace is running with one tailback and a blocking back, and it was a handoff to the fullback. Looked like a gain of about a yard. Miami Trace looks like they've got some pretty good-sized linemen.
Zeke, have we got a rundown on the defensive line or the backs or whatever?
Okay, what we have here is, I'll try to give you the defensive line as they are. We have number 74, which is Ruthford. 76 is Good, 81 Dwyer, 54 is Fincham, and 59 is Myers. We get lined up again, we'll give you the linebackers and the defensive backs.
London seemed like they stacked up pretty good right there. They did a good job of closing up that hole. And if that's any indication what we got to look forward to, you know, it was hard to run on London last year.
The defensive backs are Con, number 14, and Dorn. Looks like a safety.
Well, they look like a running one safety and two backs.
Come in close, Don.
And we got a pass to the wide out. And they have Miami Trace has the first down.
There we have a good ground shot.
And Noble.
So we have Mike Harris playing defensive back, and we have Dorn.
Keep all your shots tight.
And we have Con.
Keep all your shots in close. Yeah, come in tight, close up. Make all your shots close up.
And at linebackers, we have number 51, Noble. 78 is Bogenreich playing linebacker. Looks like Miami Trace is going to try a little bit of passing here from the start.
You got wide receiver right. Covered by Mike Harris. Flat pass to number 20.
He's got some running room and he picked up a few extra yards.
Harris in on the tackle, Noble.
Once again, we're going to try to give you some ground shots this year.
We're at the flanker right and flanker left.
Got Miami Trace in an I formation right now.
Connors cutting the flankers.
And we got a draw play.
Back up the middle. Brought down by Mike Harris. Picked up about, I think we got a first down on that.
Yeah, it looks like Miami Trace moving the ball pretty well. Of course, that's what this is all about. It's a scrimmage, and you're going to have to learn. And the coaches will tell these guys just what's wrong.
Flanker left, covered by Khan. Incomplete pass.
Okay, go ahead.
Looked like a little side out and up, and Khan was in a pretty good position there. It's just that the receiver kind of dropped the ball.
Well, this team is understanding the same defense by every play.
This Khan did a super job last year at defensive back, and he picked off an awful lot of passes, so we're kind of looking for a lot of things out of him this year in that respect too.
I think London needs to get some more penetration out of that defensive line. They're not getting a very good charge.
Same offense. Flankers on left and right.
They're sticking with that 62 defense. A little screen pass here.
Pass on the same. Tackled by Dorn. Pickup was about first down.
Yeah, it looks like Miami Trace is going to work on their passing game the first series here. It looks like they're doing a real good job here. It might be something to the other teams to pay attention to with Miami Trace.
You know, this Dorn is a hard-nosed kid too. He comes from a family of athletes. I got you, Don. I got you, Don.
I think we're going to change around here, and we're going to go the other direction. Now we got Miami Trace coming out in a straight T backfield with a flanker right. We got a man in motion. And we got a power off the right side, tackled by number 78, Bogenreich, and number 81, Dwyer. Looked like the interior of the line filled real good there.
No, don't worry about the crowd. Just more just looking at the situation where we get.
Now, London's got a lot of spots to fill on defense. They've lost quite a few players from last year. I know they've lost linebacker, and they've lost a couple of key linemen, and they've also lost some defensive backs. So they've got some spots to fill, and looks like they've got the talent.
Flanker left and right, covered by Harris, and Con. Quick pass, flat pass. He tackled my
It looks like London needs to come up more on their on the receivers. They're giving them too much cushion. I think they need to be playing them a little bit more heads up, especially this first game. You know, London's got the speed back there to stay with anybody. I don't, you know, of course this is early, and they're just learning, and I believe as the season goes on, you'll see these defensive backs turn into a real fine squad.
Wide receiver right, Mike Harris.
Okay, I'm watching both your cameras. Whichever's going to make the best picture. Donnie's, but I'm keeping him in close. So if he gets a good close up,
Off tackle,
I'm going to have to follow the tackle, ball hand or the ball carrier, whichever it may be.
76.
76.
Good. It looked like the linebacker stayed at home on that one. Good got the tackle.
Follow the guy who made the tackle for London, and if we're carrying the ball, follow the ball player.
I believe we'll probably go on offense right now. London will go on offense. I wish we could give you more detail on each one of these players and what class they're in and how many years they've played football and if they've been Lettermans or just starting out as first-string varsity this year.
Yeah, on a close-up.
We'll have, we still want
Got London going to go on offense here. We'll try to give you a rundown of the offensive team here in a second as soon as they get set up. Looks like London got some pretty good size coming out on the field right now.
Donnie, see if you can come up closer now.
Yeah, I believe they're going to have Con at quarterback to start off with.
Okay, back off just a little bit. That's good. You might even want to, if you're in an angle, you get some shots.
It looks like we got a pretty good crowd tonight for the scrimmage game, and looks like a pretty good turnout for Miami Trace also. London always represents their team well, and tonight's no exception. We have a real fine turnout for a scrimmage game. That just shows you what having a winning program does for this school. It sure gets a lot of the fans out here and be a lot of excitement.
That's what I'm looking at right there.
And we got the offense coming up to the line here, London's offense. We'll try to give you a lowdown. We got Harris at tailback and looks like Teal at fullback.
Collins, the quarterback. Flat pass to number 81. Completed to Dwyer.
Yeah, Dwyer made a fine catch there. It looks like London's going to come out and show the Miami Trace that they can do a little passing also. I'll try to give you a lowdown on London's line, offensive line here.
We try to feature London.
Get some information.
Looks like we have number 76 at tackle.
Wide receivers left and right.
Number 54 Fincham at right guard.
Hand off to Mike Harris rather. He's tackled to pick up for 1 yard.
As soon as they come back up the line again, we'll try to resume with the alignment. Notice all these guys standing on the sidelines got these real nice haircuts. How about that, Don?
It's all right. It's a new thing. Huh?
Kind of brings back memories of some of these guys with the shaved heads.
Wide receiver left and right. Found a quarterback. Hand off to
21. Teal.
The Teal. Pick up about 2 yards on the play.
Looks like we got number 59 playing center, which is Myers.
Fourth, is that right?
Inmates from London down here. The whole thing down here. Everything.
Wide receiver.
You got number 46 is Pete Robinson, and number 7 is
Quarterback Pete.
Tyler Hamilton.
Pick up maybe 1 yard on the play.
You might want to change into the field. I'm turning this off when I'm not talking to you. You might want to change into the field.
Looks like Miami Trace has got some pretty fair-sized guys in the interior line there. Looks like they got a couple of nice side linebackers. Looks like Miami Trace is into a 6-2 also with the
Wide receiver left and right.
safety and 2 wide outs there.
It's going to take a little time to work the kinks out. What the biggest problem I'm going to run into is trying to cover the shots and not come out of the air.
I know London's got a few guys out here playing this year that had been on a fine reserve team of London's.
Once we get it down, I'm going to have to say something.
And number 72 playing left tackle is Maxwell. Number 78 on that side, Bogenreif, playing left guard. Number 54 is Fincham playing center.
Hand off to Mike Harris. He hits the silver line with no gain at all. He was about 2 yards.
I think Mike got a little bit of that Barry Sanders routine in there, busted up the middle and then tried to get outside and lost a few yards.
I tell you what, guys, we're going to miss this DJ Jackson. I understand he's back on the right track now and things are looking up for him. And once we get him back in this line, go ahead, that extra 1-2 punch to go work out there. I mean, this kid was averaging 4 and 5 and 6 touchdowns every Saturday in reserve ball and really done a job during the varsity season last year. So they're going to miss him starting out.
He's got speed. He's a good ball player. Hits hard.
Good fake for Con.
Good leg for Con. Pass downfield to number 46.
And good catch. What a catch.
Nice catch by number 46, Pete Robinson. Thing gained about 30 yards.
Pete Robinson. Okay, Donnie, I got you.
That was a nice pass from Con. Now, that's one thing we can say. We still got that passing game going. Looks like Coach is going to do that this year also. We might not have as much speed at that quarterback spot as we did last year, but I think we've got just as good as arm, and this kid here has played varsity football for a number of years, and I really believe that he can step in there and take control. And London staying with that I formation.
Mike Harris. Maybe a loss of 1 yard off tackle.
Looks like Mike's a little hesitant right now, Donnie. What do you think?
I think he is too.
Looks like he's trying to pick a hole and then he's trying to go to another one. And instead of taking that initial hit, he wants to bounce outside. You know, I'm sure Coach has got some plays designed to go outside.
He has the speed to do it.
Yeah, Mike's got a real good speed, and I'm sure as the game wears on here, he'll show a little bit of it.
I know, Zeke, you coach a lot in the lower grades. Have you ever given any thought to going up in higher coaching?
Yeah, I'd like to. If I had more time, I'd really like to move up a little bit. Like to get into a little high school, a little varsity coaching.
Tom back and pass.
Oh, interception. Tackle by Mike Harris. Little off-balance pass. I'm sure something will be told to him about that kind of pass. I don't think that Coach liked that pass, but I'm sure he's going to learn from his mistakes. That's why we call these scrimmage games. We try to work out the kinks, so when that first game rolls around, we'll be able to go out there and do it the right way.
First quarter's over. If you want to keep on playing that you can. If you want to take a break, you can.
And we're going to turn ends here. London's going to take it the other direction now. I'd like to see London working a little bit more of their running game. London's got some horses up front again this year.
We got the backs.
Yeah. Now, Miami Trace has got some little short, stocky guys. They look like they got a little bunch of fire plugs sitting in the middle there. They're running looks to me like they're running a 4-3 defense right now. They got number 25, must be their monster back. Little cross buck action there.
Mike Harris takes him about 5 yards on the play.
Tackled by about 5 of Miami Trace's players. Now that time Mike looked like he hit the hole and he knew what he wanted to do with it instead of bouncing outside. I think Mike is starting to learn as the game goes on here. That's 72 for London, which is Maxwell. Looks like he probably goes a good 240, 250. Number 78, which is Bogan Rife. Looks like London's got some pretty fair-sized linemen in there this year. Dwyer probably goes a good 200, 215.
Face out to Mike Harris on the right side.
That looks like London's not getting any blocking out of the interior of the line there. Need to concentrate on that a little bit more, it looks like.
I'll get a really clean cut then.
Yeah, well, I didn't bring the list.
That looks like Miami Trace is a little quicker off the ball. They're getting to the play ahead of time. Doesn't look like London's sticking their blocks and staying with them.
Wide receiver left, and number 7 is
Tyler Hamilton.
Tyler Hamilton.
Good fullback up the middle. Teal picked up a good 3 yards. This is something London's always run in the past. They've had some nice fullbacks. It looks like they're going to stick with it this year. I think Teal is a very capable fullback, and I know he's a fine blocker. If you remember a couple years ago, they had a Roberts running fullback for him. He did a real fine job of it. And then
Tyler Hamilton and Pete Robinson, wideouts. Hand off to Mike Harris, but he's hit right away. So maybe a loss of 1 yard.
Hey, Gary.
The hole goes kind of fast.
Who ran fullback?
yeah.
What's the name of him? Sims?
Yeah. Last year they had Sims running fullback, and London likes to run that fullback when they need 3 or 4 yards, and I really believe Teal can handle that situation this year.
Last year they had what they called a buffalo package, and the weight figured out to, I think, Darby told us something like close to 700 pounds in the buffalo package in the backfield.
You got Miami Trace running a 5-3. We got a flag down on the play.
I think they're going to call a clip.
It looked like they called a clip. It was just like a look type block. I don't think there was any contact, but the official was a little out of position, and from where he was, well, they waved it off. I think they had a little conference there, and the official that did see the play noticed that there wasn't a clip on that play. That was a fine bit of officiating there.
It's a nice run with Mike Harris.
Mike finally found his feet there and got outside and looked real good. He had a couple of fine blocks downfield for him also. Yeah, we got London coming up on the ball again. That was a fine game.
That is a lot of running.
Some of the things London's capable of doing, you know, with Mike in there. Mike's a capable running back. Mike's been playing tailback ever since he was in the Pee Wee football organization here. Come up through junior high as a tailback, and he's been running tailback on the varsity squad the last couple of years. He's been a capable backup for Lester and for Jackson last year. He was a capable backup.
Now replacing Mike Harris. He's pretty shifty. Nice run.
This guy showed you a little bit of that Barry Sanders jive. He's in the middle and juked and spin and picked up a nice 7 yards. I believe this guy played on the reserve team last year or the freshman team last year. They had a fine running back on that freshman team last year, and I'm not for sure if this is the same guy or not. And like I said, we do not have a roster telling us who's who and what's what. We're kind of making up as we go here.
Steele's got the ball. So no game on the play.
Kind of run a little bit of that option play there with the fullback. I noticed Kahn was rolling out and he had the tailback tailing him. So we'll look for that option here later on with the quarterback option.
Mike Harris is going back into the ball game.
A little warm out here today. Temperature probably at game time was probably around 90 degrees. So I imagine after Mike made that nice run there, they give him a little break, but he's back in there now. Looks like they've got a capable backup in this number 1. He looks like this clerk looks like he can handle the situation to give Mike a breather.
Steele the fullback and Mike Harris back at halfback.
Got a wide out to the right. Looks like they're
Hamilton and Robinson. Stay at the middle with Mike Harris, maybe pick up the game, maybe about 2 yards.
I think Mike needs to lower that shoulder a little bit more, Donnie, and especially when he's going into the middle of that line. You know, first series of plays, though, the offense is always feeling out the defense. Most games you'll have the linemen trying to figure them out, and that's offense and defense both. So, first series of plays, usually you don't do too hot.
We got Clark back in at halfback, tailback again. Steele fullback.
Got a tight end left.
Steele's got the ball, but the whole right side of the line. Brought him down. No game on the play. Lost him maybe about 2 yards. Seems like he didn't get to cut the corner. Turn the corner.
Doesn't look like they're getting the outside backer and the defensive end cut in enough to get the outside. According to the markers, London's setting on about the, looks like about the 8-yard line there. Let's see if they do that little roll out to the right and hit somebody in the end zone this time.
Steele and Clark lined up behind Kahn. Kahn back to pass. Incomplete pass.
Looked like Kahn tried to put a little bit too much on that time and kind of made a little bad pass there.
I think he lost control a little bit. Brings up 3rd down and to 3rd and 8.
Still looks like the ball's on the 8-yard line. I notice Harris is standing there with his helmet off. Maybe he's a little fatigued. It is a little warm out tonight. Got Mike going both ways, offense and defense both, so it doesn't take much. Looks like we got a double tight end package here and two wide outs.
Steele in the backfield. Kahn back to pass.
A straight drop back. Got a screen play to the tight end right. Number 81, Dwyer, scores on about an 8-yard pass. Had a little screen pass to the tight end, the opposite direction. I think that's a new wrinkle we might see this year.
A nice fake to Kirk here.
You know, these things they're working on now. You know, they look real good, and hopefully Coach can get these things to work during the regular season. It's really exciting to see something like that work during a scrimmage, because you know if you work on it hard enough, it'll come through during the game also.
Extra point. Kicker is number 47.
Well, the kick's up and good.
Number 27, you don't have.
What's up, gang? What's the kicker's name? Tobin. Yeah, Carl.
Kick was good by Tobin. I'm sorry we're having little problems here. We just don't have the the names and the numbers to let you know everybody. We do have some of them.
Here in the field, we'd like to let everybody know that they're still being money for their camera. You can place donations at the National Bank on South Main Street in London. This camera makes it so you people can really enjoy yourselves on Monday night. Here we deal with really appreciate it.
I'm going to turn this off until your picture comes back on, okay? Never died. See, he's running on battery down there.
Well, it looks like London's going to go with defense now. We'll try to stay up on this a little bit better now. We're starting to get this down, and we're starting to notice who's out there and who's not out there. Hopefully we'll do a better job for you. It's nice to see all these younger kids running around here with these London jerseys on, Donnie. It's something here with this tradition we have at London High School. And, you know, if you got a winning program at the varsity level, you can just about bet you got a winning program down at the lower levels. Looks like Coach Emmett's out there, has lost about 30 pounds this last year. He's looking real good. That's London's top defensive coach, and does a lot of coaching with the line on offense.
Defensive backs are like Harris, Kahn, Teal, right?
Dorn. We got Dorn playing the middle backer. Turn around, Mike. Okay, Mike Harris did a fine job there staying with him. It looks like Miami Trace is going to try to pass that ball quite a bit tonight. That might be something for their people in their conference to keep an eye. This kid looks like he has a pretty fine arm. Got Mike Harris turned around in circles there a little bit, but Mike covered, come back and made a nice read on him.
I think we got some new people in the backfield too this year that they're probably going to test him. I see Con playing
North covering the wide receiver.
It looks like Miami Trace has got a T backfield to the right there with two wide receivers to the right.
It's a flat pass. Number
81.
Drew Dewar, I believe. I got Drew Dewar and what was his name, Carl? Number 80.
Drew's got a fine set of hands. You know, he just scored that touchdown for London on offense, but Drew also plays defensive end, and he has the height to be a nice defensive end.
That's a good defensive play. Number 20 is North, and Teal, Kahn in the backfield.
Number 20 is
the backfield.
London looks like they're still in that 6-2 defense. Miami Trace is in a straight eye right now with two wide receivers, one to the right, one to the left. Got a little draw play. Tackled by number 51 and number 74 for London. Hopefully by the time you see this, you guys will have a program and know who we're talking about.
Number 54 for London. It's Fincham.
London's got a nice looking middle guard in there, number 59.
Double and Bogenreich for linebackers.
Myers.
Defensive safety.
Okay, Miami Trace. Miami Trace got a little shift on. It looks like they got a T left on there. Got a sweep outside. Fine tackle by Noble at linebacker. He got his feet on that sweep there. London's got to come up a little bit faster at defensive backs on them outside runs. Quarterback for Miami Trace looks like he goes about 6'2", probably about 190 pounds. Like I said, their linemen are kind of short and stocky. I really like those short and stocky guys. I figure they can block a lot easier if they stay low.
Man in motion, set now. And a handoff to number 20. Over the right to left tackle. No gain, maybe 2 yards.
I think London got pretty good penetration that time, Donnie, and he just really didn't have too many places to go there. So that's what London was noted for last year. Those linemen were doing some penetration. That's what really took them through all the playoff games last year, was them, the defensive linemen getting that penetration.
I want to hear you guys get excited one time.
Well, you know, Gary, I think we need something to get us excited here.
I heard that.
I think Mike Harris had a little exciting run there earlier.
Wide receiver left.
This number
Covered by
20.
Con.
Anybody got his name?
Yeah, North.
North?
North's cover number 35, wide receiver right.
Well, it looks like we're going to have another pass here.
Pass to number 35 is incomplete.
Nice pressure there on number 78, Bogenright, and number 21, Teal there. Had real good pressure on the quarterback that time.
How do you rate this team here size-wise? London, I'm talking about.
And it looks like they've got a really nice size up front. Linebackers, they've got a couple of nice side linebackers. You got a good Division III team here that looks like they could play with some Division I teams as far as offensive lineman and linebacker size.
Wide receivers left and right, covered by North and Con.
London still sitting in that 6-2 defense.
Flat pass.
No way.
No.
I'll tell you what, they've called interference. Oh, they've called offensive interference. That was a nice call. I kind of got a little carried away there. Sorry about that.
Do you think there should have been a call at all, because he couldn't have got to it anyway?
No, I really believe it should have been a no call. I think the defensive back was a little closer to the play than the offensive receiver. But you know, these officials are out here doing their first game of the year too, so they're learning, and maybe in the big game that kind of call won't happen. You know, in a game like this, officiating can help teach also.
Got a wide receiver right with number 20, North covering it.
That straight T backfield with a little shift there. Now they're in a little I right formation.
In the single wing.
Did look like
off up the middle to number 34, tackled by Connor.
Donna, you mentioned a little single wing there. It did look a little bit like single wing. It's something we're not used to seeing around here.
Right.
That's something I believe there's
back in the days of 40, what Dave Stanley was
What
playing
division is? Go ahead, Don. Sorry.
Well, that was the single wing. I remember back in the days. That was back in 40, 48, and 49. Dave Stanley was defensive tailback. I mean, offensive tailback.
Now you're telling on yourself there, Donna.
A
little way back there.
Right.
You know, there still are a couple of small colleges here in the state of Ohio still runs that single wing stuff.
It kind of throws the other team off balance when you shift.
Oh, fine.
Nice pass and completion. Tackle by North and a host of other tackles.
Tell you what I liked about that tackle. He kind of slid off the tackle, but he stayed with it.
You know,
he didn't give up on it.
Gary, one thing I noticed last year that we kind of had a problem with our defensive backs is not grabbing material. These kids have to concentrate on grabbing the material. Number 20 here made a fine hit and stuck with him and grabbed that material. I believe in the playoff game last year against Clyde, we let a couple of the wide receivers get loose on us because we didn't grab material. London has to concentrate on a little bit more of that.
Wide receiver right, covered by North. And the shift.
London still sitting in that 6-2 defense.
Hand off to the fullback, number 34, and start tackled by...
That was a little straight trap right up the middle. I think London's a little leery now of that pass, and they're leaving that middle wide open for these trap plays. I saw a little bit of excitement there after the play there. Number 74 for London got a little excited. I kind of like to see that early in the year. Lets me know that these boys want to play when they get a little shoving match going on with the other team. You know, it's Brad Rutherford, I believe that's his first name. He was a freshman last year, coming in this year as a sophomore, and looks like he's going to be a starting tackle and starting defensive tackle. Looks like he's worked his way into a starting spot. He's a big kid. Looks like he goes around 240, 245. Kind of brought some chills up and down my spine there to see that kind of hit.
That was a good hit.
Those are the kind of hits I love to see.
I think it's going to work out okay. I wish we had some communications like this where we have to.
Who'd you say he was?
Dollar. Dollar, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's Ty Dowler. That's Phil Dowler's boy.
This team is like a 6-2-2-1. You got a man.
Yeah, London's staying in that 6-2 defense right now.
Wide receiver right. Quarterback back to pass. He throws a flat pass to the right. And he's hit by Mike Harris, a bruising track.
Got a fine hit by Mike Harris. You know, Mike played a lot of defense last year, Donnie. He was a defensive back last year because they had Lester, which was an all-state running back, running that tailback position. So Mike didn't do much carrying the ball last year. He played a lot of defensive back. He did a fine job last year. Looks like he's ready to hit this year.
That was a good hit.
You know, if Mike would maybe hit that hard when he's carrying the football.
Pretty tough.
London's still in that 6-2.
Wide right, covers Mike Harris. There's the shift. Offensive shift. Quarterback hands off to the tailback, who's picked up about 2 yards on the play.
Had a nice tackle there. Nice fill by 51 Noble. Did a real fine job of filling. Looked like the defensive end got a little out of control there on his rush. You got to play that defensive end from the outside in. Looked like Dowler got the outside part of it okay, but he didn't get that moving back in part. Yeah, it's good to see that you've got some new blood in there.
Got a 1st and 10 going for them.
Ty
Right and left.
Ty Dowler played a lot last year as a reserve player and did a fine job.
Mike Harris covering the wide receivers. Quarterback back to pass. Whistle blowing on the play.
Yeah, it looks to me like, Donnie, that they're not really covering these men. They're not very close to these guys. It looks like the defense is giving up that short pass, and you and I both know you can't do that. You know, as long as you're moving them down markers, you're getting first downs, you're heading towards the end zone. London's going to have to come up and pick these guys up.
Don't give them as much room, really.
You know, this is when you're supposed to be working on that defensive stuff. And, you know, if you get burnt, you get burnt. That's just something you got to learn from. These guys are playing too far off of these guys.
They'll run this place all day long.
You know, I know London's got the speed to stay with these guys. You got Sean Kahn back there that averages 7-8 interceptions a season for this London team.
Wide receiver right, covered by Mike Harris. And
a little timeout here. I think the referee noticed a mouthpiece out. Did a little blowing a whistle instead of throwing a flag, which it's like I said, the officials are out here to help teach these players here in this scrimmage game also. I know Miami Trace had a fine team last year. I believe they went to the playoffs also.
Yeah, they did.
And it looks to me like they're doing a little rebuilding this year. I know they had a fine tailback last year and a fine linebacker that played for them last year.
Wide receiver right, covered by Bill Harris. Offensive shift. Quarterback handed off to the fullback, which is no gain on the play. Oh, he's still struggling. Maybe he picked up one, possibly.
That was a fine tackle there, but the initial hit. You know, you got Mike Harris coming off the field again. I think Mike needs to get a little bit more stamina here. Looks like he's having a little wind problem early.
Wide receiver right and left.
London's still sticking in that 6-2 defense.
North on the left and Tom on the right. Quarterback back to pass, a flat pass.
Now, that was great defense, Donnie. That was great defense. They stayed right on him and made a nice hit and popped that ball out. That's the way you're supposed to play defensive back. Yeah, that was exciting there.
Good play.
It looks like he's waiting to get burnt deep. He's not going to give him that short stuff. That's what I like.
We were just talking about that. He's playing him closer, which is good. Wide receiver left and right. South and north, defenders.
You gotta notice these linebackers are playing this pass. Oh yeah. All right. Had a fine rush by Ty Dowler. Fine rush. Coach Emmets is all in a roar there. Now you know why number 76 is playing defensive line. Because that pass was right in his hands, and he let it roll on the ground. And I'm sure he's going to catch it come film time.
I really think if you see the replay, about the same time he went to catch that ball, he got hit.
Is that right?
I'm going to take up for the young man.
All right.
He still should have caught it.
You got number 76 all upset there.
Who is 76?
Good.
Good. Good, that was bad, but you're still good. I'm trying to figure out something here.
It looks like London's going to go on offense, so we don't know if they're going to run their first team back out there or we're going to see a few of their second team. Looks like Miami Trace is in that 6-2 defense also. Sound like we're getting a little feedback here.
Hand off to Teal up the middle for pick up about maybe 2 yards. Gary, you said you couldn't hear me a while ago, Jody said?
I wish we could give you the weights of some of these players. London's got some good-sized linemen in there.
The wide receiver left, which is Tyler Hamilton, and Robinson right. Conlon, the quarterback. Back to pass. And an incomplete pass.
Looked like he threw kind of to a spot and to the receiver, Donnie.
Yeah, he's spotting the ball, really.
I see Coach Emmets out there giving number 72 a little what for.
Those are the kind of pass you have to run under.
Right. Looked like Miami Trace had pretty good coverage on that pass, but he still should have went underneath of it. Looked like a nicely thrown pass.
Might have been led just a little bit, but.
You know, Miami Trace looks like they've got a pretty fair amount of boys out for football this year. It's always nice to see the local teams have a good turnout.
Number 4 on the right, that's Alexander.
Oh, we got Jared Alexander playing wide out now.
Hand off to Mike Harris.
Now that was a nice run. Nice run, Donnie. It looked like he found his hole and knew where he wanted to go.
He hit it hard. That's good.
Yeah, that's one thing they need out of Mike. They're going to need him the whole ball game this year. We don't have Lester and we don't have Jackson, and Mike's going to have to carry the load this year. You know, Mike's a fine running back. Mike has fine speed, and Mike has a lot of experience. And I just hope he can pick up and become a team leader. Yeah, it's nice to see them using Jared Alexander as a wideout.
Yeah, he should have good hands too.
He does have a nice set of hands, especially since he's a quarterback also. And he does have pretty nice height, and I know he's got some pretty nice speed.
Alexander White, and keep getting Robinson left.
It looks like Miami Trace went into a little 5-3. Fine pass. He held on to that ball long enough for Drew Dwyer to come open, and that was a fine pass. That shows you some experience right there. Con did a real fine job.
He's right-handed to run to the left and throw right with all the pressure. That was a good play.
You know, Kahn's had some experience at that starting job. He come in and fill in when he was a sophomore at quarterback the last 3 games of the year. Did a real fine job then, and he did a lot of filling in last year when Artist went down or when Artist got hurt. Kahn come in and filled in real nice for him. That was a real fine pass. I tell you what, there's not too many little defensive backs want to stay with Drew Dwyer after he catches the football.
Here's how
You got Alexander wide right.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we'll find out what building.
I see Miami Trace has moved back into a 5-3 defense now.
Pitch out to Mike Harrison on right end. Oh, beautiful tackle.
Mike's got to cut that up. He can't take that all the way to the sidelines. If he'd have made that initial cut, see, this game here is end zone to end zone, not sideline to sideline.
Okay, here we are, Zeke. I got it.
Yeah, he had to pick up about.
I get talking too much, it dries too far, so we had to pull it down. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just make sure I stay just in and out of the red.
Okay.
Okay.
So we got second down.
You see this coming? I'll signal.
The yard markers up there, good.
Coach is getting brave, leaving us up here by ourselves.
We got Alexander wide left.
Yeah, you got Miami Trace back in that 6-2 now.
And a handoff to number 21.
Teal.
Teal. Is that Teal? No, number 21.
Yeah,
is,
number 21, Teal.
Oh yeah, okay, it's Teal.
That was a fine run. That's it.
Nice run.
That's London getting back to that fullback stuff. That's that old stuff that Donnie and I was used to. That fullback up the middle stuff. We really like that kind of stuff. It looks like London has the horses up in the middle there, Donnie, so they can run that play.
Yeah, they can run it. We got number 27 wide right is Eddie Hamilton in the game now. Robinson left and a pass to incomplete pass to Eddie Hamilton.
Pass is a little low, Donnie. It looked like it should have been caught though.
Yeah.
I know that was one he'd probably want to have back.
I don't know if that was tipped or not. Was that tipped?
I don't think it was tipped at the line. I just think he's having a little trouble throwing to the outside, it looks like. He's been putting the mustard on that ball down the middle and deep, but throwing to the outside, he's not getting that good spiral on it.
Yes, that's a couple of them I've seen him do that too.
I'll tell you what, though, this game experience is a lot different than that practice experience against your own players.
Oh, yeah.
This is where you got to learn and study what you need to do and what you need to do next week in practice. It's nice to see Coach Dobbenmeyer and Coach Emmett's right in the middle of that huddle.
We got Tyler Hamilton wide left and Jared Alexander wide right.
Yes, Tyler Hamlin, Donnie, was a real fine receiver for the reserve team last year. He caught a lot of touchdown passes from Jared Alexander.
Mm-hmm. Good little ball player. I saw some of the games they played last year. He was. Kahn back to pass. Oh.
That looked a little bit like Kahn just overthrew him. It looked like Tyler was open, but he just overthrew him. I think he was under a lot of pressure that time, though.
Yeah, it was pretty good defense so far down the field.
Little rush on him that time. Kahn got up a little slow. You know, back when I used to play, Donna, they used to not let you hit the quarterback in practice too much. Maybe he's not used to that hitting yet. He just found out what that was all about.
You know, when I was in school, you weren't allowed to hit the quarterback period, really. You kind of touched him, but you didn't put your shoulder into it.
Yeah, you didn't give too much to the first or second team quarterback.
That's right. We got Robinson left wide and Alexander wide right.
Looks like they're giving a good look to Alexander at that
Mike
wide
Harris
receiver.
Back. He's back to pass. Oh, it looks like a beautiful defensive play.
Yeah, fine defense by that number 34 for Miami Trace. Did a real good job of getting back. Of course, the pass was a little underthrown.
When this comes on, I'll get to switch this one.
Okay.
Okay, it should come on in a minute.
I think the pass was intended for Dwyer that time. He's about how tall is Dwyer? He looks like he's.
Looks like he goes about 6'3", 6'4". Takes after his daddy. Been some fine ball players come out of that Dwyer family. It looks like London's got about a
You got Eddie Hamilton back in there at wide receiver.
about a 2nd and 10 here for a first down.
Yeah, Eddie Hamilton, number 27, and Robinson at left wide receiver.
Looks like this Robinson's going to get quite a bit of playing time at wide receiver this year.
Coming back to pass.
A nice fake. Nice fake. Got him wide open down the middle. Fine catch. Fine catch.
Nice.
That was Hamilton.
Eddie Hamilton.
Eddie Hamilton made a fine catch. It was a fine pass.
That was good blocking, too, on the London line. He had plenty of time to pass at that particular time.
Yeah, that was a sweet pass. Yeah, real nice pass. Kahn made a nice fake, made a nice roll, waited till the receiver come open and made a nice pass.
Beautiful pass. Eddie Hamilton seems like he's pretty fast.
I don't know. I'll get back with you in just a minute. Donnie will bring it in a little
brothers,
closer.
The two Hamilton boys,
I
7
have Ted
and
Timmons
27,
here,
are they brothers?
president of the
J.J. Hartley Athletic Complex.
Yeah, I've been running around here so much longer than what I'm doing, Ted.
Okay.
I'd like to see if you want to give him a little plug here.
I think they singled it good.
They're having a raffle right now.
On the kicking tonight, you don't have any rush or anything. You're just letting the kickers practice their kick.
Several committee members has been.
So London scored another touchdown, and that's 2 of them by the air. So maybe that gives us guys that like this game a little bit more exciting, something to look forward to.
You're going to have $20 a piece. And you're going to have, you know more about than I do. Maybe you ought to be president. They're $20 a piece, and you can have 30 chances to win during the month of October. With the 3 numbers will be drawn according to the 3 lotto numbers drawn. So it's an opportunity to contribute to the complex as well as a chance to win some money.
We don't know.
You could choose to donate back to if you wanted to and get a tax deduction. So, great opportunity. I just hope everybody get out and support it.
All right, Ted. Thanks a lot. And get behind that, and also get behind that Gary McNeil camera.
That's right. How is that camera?
It's going a little slow right now, but I think
that looks like London. London has turned around. We're going to go back the other direction. We got Miami Trace.
Donnie,
Looks like
we'll
they're
take
about
it back to the ball
7-2
to the
now.
field.
Fine cut. Fine cut by Mike Harris. Now that time, Donnie, it looked like he was ready to run.
Yeah, he was running.
I think maybe these 2 touchdowns has got some of these boys a little bit more excited.
Pick up about 5 yards on the play. Yeah, he's moving that time. He's not picking though. He's just running.
Yeah, I hate to see Mike keep coming off to the sidelines, though, Donnie.
Did you switch it back?
No.
Well, is he hurt? Maybe he's
You weren't talking while I was talking with you. I bet you were.
I wasn't. Because I saw you interviewing Ted.
Yeah, anytime I'm talking, there's a guy on the field, and we don't talk. You can't overwrite them. But that's all right. This is just practice. I don't got enough people.
The number is 115.
London on offense.
0.
Robinson left and Alexander right.
Got a new tailback in there, Donnie.
New tailback is Kurt, number 1. He's got a shifty little ball player, it looks like. Hand off up the middle to
Yeah, number 31, wasn't it?
I do believe.
Playing fullback right now. Nope, that was Teal, wasn't it?
That was Teal, yeah.
Okay, our fault.
21.
Does that kind of remind you of you when you played tailback? Number 1 out there?
Yeah, I was little, man. I was probably
I'll tell you
little
what,
then.
I don't think this clerk can go over 145, 150 pounds.
I was smaller than that, I think.
Of course, London's always had a fine tradition of small tailbacks. Remember a guy we used to call Mike Cunningham?
Right.
That kid could carry the football for no bigger than he was.
Kurt carried the ball, no gain. He was hit right in the line of scrimmage.
I think
London, kid, but he's pretty fast.
London right now is trying to find a blocking technique up front. Doesn't look like they're accomplishing too much on this running game. Yeah, it impresses me. London's still got all their starters out there. And that's good because you want to get these guys a lot of reps so they'll be ready for the season. You know, the season opens up in about a week.
Alexander to wide right. Oh, nice. Over the center pass.
Oh.
To number 81, which he dropped.
You know, that was the pass they threw a lot to Wilson last year. John Wilson, which was our all-state tight end and also an all-state basketball player. John was a very capable receiver. John kept us in a lot of ball games last year. I'll tell you what, I like what I've seen so far as the passing game, Donnie. I think they're going to
They look pretty good.
Get this thing clicking. I think that'll just give one more faucet for these other teams to have to look for. You know, last year with Lester in there and Sims at fullback, they kind of stuck to that running game. But looks to me like they're going to try to pass that ball a little bit more this year.
Well,
You know, and they also had artists there last year that could run that ball out of their quarterback position.
They had the speed, a lot of speed.
You know, I think it was the game against Lemon out of Cincinnati there in the playoffs when he took that one about 90 yards down that right sideline to break that game open in the first quarter.
Beautiful play with it. I seen him do that. Well, he did that in one other game against West Jeff, too. Fred Lester, I think he did that. We're talking about artists while ago. Lester did that in one game.
London's going to miss those two guys as far as their speed.
Oh, yeah. I think that's some good ball players there.
London's coming up the line.
They double wide out on the same side. Alexander and Robinson on the left.
You got Miami Trace setting in a 4-3 right now. They're evidently expecting a pass. Looks like they're ready to blitz here. And we've got a penalty on the play. Must have been a little bit of backfield in motion.
Looks like they might have been a little offside. Backfield in motion.
We're not getting much indication from the official up here of what the calls are.
Looked like it was against London, I do believe.
That's one thing about these scrimmages. They're not marking off any yardage. These referees are just getting their practice in also. Miami Trace looks like they've got a nice sized middle linebacker in there, number 50. Looks like he goes about 6'2", probably around 190 pounds.
They got about a 4-3-1 over here with it.
Yeah, they're running a 4-3, and they're picking up the two wide receivers outside there. Had a fine defensive play by number 71 and number 35 from Miami Trace. Got Kahn in the backfield for about a 6-7 yard loss. You know, Gary or Donnie, I think that's something that London needs to look forward to, is a little extra blocking practice this week.
I got caught up over there. I missed that. I needed some help that time.
It looks like London's putting in their second team defense, or their number 2 as far as we know tonight. Now, I don't know if we have any of these other backup numbers, but we'll try to give you what we can. I can see Alexander going in there at defensive back. I see Robinson out there at defensive back. Looks like 20's back in there again at defensive back. What was his name? North, yeah. Back in there at defensive back. And Clerk's back in there at defensive back.
Number 1, Clerk, yeah.
Let's see what we got on the linebacking core here, Don. 43 is Such. And number 6, you got him there. That's Brian Harris.
Brian Harris, okay.
I know Brian played a lot of ball last year as a backup and on the reserve team.
Number 3. Burns, number 3, is what? And, isn't it?
Yep.
So
got Burns playing the right end there. Number 65. Yep, we don't have number 65's name. 79. Don't have his name either. 58. Don't have his name either.
62.
It looks like we're just going to have to try to get you excited now instead of being able to call your names. We'll just have to tell you by number who's making tackles. And we do have the defensive backs and the ends names here. We can fill you on that, but we're lacking on the linemen.
Looks like Kirk is defensive safety. I think North and Alexander are defensive halfbacks. The cornerbacks, 46 is Robinson, probably linebacker.
You know, while we're up here, I'd like to say hi to the old gang over by the pole, all the old guys I used to hang out over there with. Hope you guys are missing me.
Wide receivers left and right, covered by North and Alexander. Kirk is in the safety position, I would say.
Yeah, London's still in that 6-2 defense, Donnie.
They haven't changed it. Hand off to number 25. He's tackled by
look like a
number 62.
Number 1, Clerk. Looked like a the middle of the line there made a mighty nice charge there on defense. Got a gain of about a yard. Yeah, that's one thing London's got to do. That defensive backs have got to come up and do that hitting.
It was a good play on Kirk's part. Double wide receivers, North covered by North and Alexander.
And as such, looks like he might be a pretty good talent there.
Pass to number 21, tackled by North.
That's still another case of.
10 yards.
I still think the defensive backs are playing too far off these guys, Donnie. We just, you know, if we get burnt deep, we get burnt deep. But we're going to have to stay up, and we can't just keep giving up at 5 yards.
I think he picked up more than that time. He gave him too much room that time.
You know, we know this is just a learning experience, but we hope these guys are learning.
Right.
You know, you got those good teams that'll pick you apart with those short passes.
Double wide outs. Alexander cover 1 and North on the other. Quarterback back to
okay. Oh, got a fine rush. Fine rush.
Brought down behind the line of scrimmage by number 62.
I'll tell you, I think the defense was in there quicker and that ball carrier was moving, wasn't he, Donnie?
Yeah, they did a good job charging that time. Number 58.
I'll tell you what, this is right now is when some of these guys that think they're second team could move up to first team if they put on a pretty good showing out here tonight.
Can't hear you.
You can't hear me? Okay.
You got to speak up.
Well, that's probably because it's tilted. Okay.
No, that picks up. You just talk real low.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Double wide out, covered by North and Alexander. Quarterback back to pass, covered by Alexander. Oh, he got behind him.
I'll tell you.
But incomplete pass.
Miami Trace looks like they're going to try to do most of their yardage making this year on the air. Even their second team quarterbacks throwing 30 and 40 yarders. I'll tell you, London opens up September 1st, first regular season game September 1st with Madison Plains, which is always a big crowd. And you know that's a big rivalry.
Wide receiver right.
London still in that 6-2.
Still shifted.
Looks like an eye right. Little fullback up the middle.
Number 38. He's tackled by a host of London tacklers. Brought down, he picked him about maybe 5
nice gang tackle there.
Let's see, number 3. Well, we can't see the names we do that. Burns and Alexander and a host of tacklers on that play.
Kind of scary seeing all these guys down on the sidelines with their uniforms off. You know, back when you and I played, Donnie, we didn't take off our uniforms.
You're allowed to, man. Back to pass, flat pass to incomplete to number 45.
London looked like they had that covered pretty good there, and they had a fine rush on that time. Like I said, this scrimmage is a chance for these younger guys to show these coaches what they can do. Might let them move up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one thing I noticed, Donnie, is you can tell these guys have been in the weight room where we didn't know anything about weight rooms.
No, they didn't have weights when I was in school. They didn't know what weights were, I don't think, then, back in them days. Just kidding, of course. Got a double wide out, covered by Alexander North. Kirk at safety. Hand off to, he was hit right away by number 43 and 62. Such, number 43 is Such.
Yeah, it looks like London's filling that middle real good, Don. They're having trouble moving that ball up the middle. You know, if these are the some of the second teamers here as far as the pecking order goes right now, London does have some beef on this second team also.
Yeah, they do.
Got a couple of fine-looking linebackers out there.
Back to pass, out of cover by Alexander. Incomplete.
You know, I think our safety got burnt there. It looked like he was out of position. You had a man come straight out of the backfield and go straight up the middle. I don't know who was supposed to pick him up, but evidently there wasn't a read there telling who to get him.
No, he's out there by himself.
You know, this brings back a lot of memories down here underneath the lights. And this red. Right now we're at Von Kennel Field. Still the home of the London Red Raiders for another year.
Eddie Hamilton, the defensive cornerback here. And a double wide out to the right. And
I think
safety.
What I'm seeing here, Don, is defensive backs are having trouble picking up who they're supposed to be covering. Got a ball on the carpet.
London recovers.
London recovers on about the 38-yard line.
That sounded good, guys. Had a little excitement there.
Who's number 62? It doesn't say.
Well, that's all you can say is a number.
Number
62. You know, hopefully we can get you some insight on some of these players here in the future and be able to give you a little background on each one of them, what grade they're in, and if they've got any varsity letters from last year.
You got a double wide out, Alexander and Hamilton covers. Quarterback back to pass. He's behind the defensive.
Fine catch. Fine catch. Real nice catch. I think our defensive back there got turned around.
Yeah, he did.
He had fine coverage on him until the guy broke by him. He didn't. He broke down too quick and didn't stay with the long pass.
They call that back?
I believe they're going to take it back and start all over again. That was a fine catch there by that number two flanker. He made a little turn around and caught that going over his shoulder.
Miami faces the line of scrimmage. They got a wide out left and wide out right. Covered by Hamilton and Alexander.
London still sitting in that 6-2 defense.
Quarterback back to pass, a flat pass. I believe incomplete.
They called that incomplete.
Incomplete, right. Good coverage. He was covered good.
Now that play right there, a little bit later, we'll probably see an out and up on that. To get London to bite on that quick out and do a fly pattern there.
We used to call it the button hook. Go out so far and button hook, turn around and then take off. Downfield. Miami Trace. Single wide out to the right, covered by number 10, Langley. Quarterback got the ball. He handed off to which is hit by a host of tacklers. Alexander and number 6, Brian Harris. He's a pretty big boy, that number 53.
I'll tell you what, that number 38 that just carried that football is a pretty nice sized fullback. Looked like he'd probably go about 210, 215.
I thought, okay, let's see. Well, I thought I had the wrong man. He's a big guy.
Yeah, Miami Trace had a tailback last year that could run the football, and they had a linebacker last year that, when we scrimmaged them over there last year, that really put on a nice showing.
I was kind of
Got a
looking
double
forward to
wide
that
out
tailback.
with Langley and.
Yeah, is he hurt or?
I don't know where he's at. I
Alexander
think his name
Governor?
is Burns.
Because he was a young kid.
I think he's a Burns.
Quarterback back to pass, a quick pitch
Good
out
catch.
to the flat pass to.
Oh, that's
good
a
hit.
nice hit.
Nice catch.
Langley made a nice pop there.
Number 10,
Ball
Langley.
carrier having a little trouble getting up.
Pass
Yeah,
really cracked that
those
time.
are the kind of hits that us old timers like to see.
That's right. That was a good hit.
I'll tell you, a couple pops like that could move you up on that depth chart real quick.
Make the ball carrier think about you the next time he comes your way too.
Now that shows you right there if you want to play or not. When a defensive back comes up and meets a running back and he pops him out well, that shows you he wants to play.
A double wide out. Covered by Alexander and Langley.
London's still in that 6-2. Evidently that's going to be their basic defense this year.
Quarterback back to the same flat pass. He completed, and then he's hit by a host of tacklers. Clerk, Burns, or Brian Harris.
Yeah, Donnie, it just looks like they're not reading that flat pass. They're not reading that short stuff.
It's a quick, just a draw back
For
and a
some
quick
reason, they're letting them have that.
pass. That can take them on down the field, you know.
Well, you know, the thing, you know, all you got to do is pick up 3.5 yards every time you touch that football, and eventually you're going to get in the end zone.
Eventually you get a touchdown, right? So play a little closer.
You know, we got a safety back there. I don't know why these guys aren't up on the line bumping them a little bit, staying with them.
We got a double wide out covered by Alexander and Langley.
Be surprised if they don't run something up the middle this time.
Back to pass. He threw
Nope.
back pass, right?
Alexander beat.
And I told Alexander, but he dropped the ball.
Number 83 had a touchdown if he'd have held on to that thing. That was a nice pass. I'll tell you what, this Miami Trace has got a couple of quarterbacks that look like they want to air it out this year. You know, I'd hate to be in their division if I got to watch them throw passes like that all the time. You know, you see the London coaches back here shaking their heads. They know what they need to work on. They got some defensive backs that look like they don't know where they're at.
Okay, got a wide out to the left. It's covered by Alexander.
Yeah, you got the defensive coaches are telling the backs where to go to.
Look, whistle on the play.
That little whistle there must have been some kind of offensive motion or line movement. Looked to be like Miami Trace was doing a little cross-buck action there, or a little reverse type play there.
I don't know who they called that on. Is that on the?
That was on the offense. I think one of the linemen moved their head up and down before the ball was snapped. You know, once the linemen get set, they're not allowed to move.
Right.
I mean, London's got 3 guys in the middle there that's got some pretty good weight for second-team guys.
You got a double wide out.
London's still sitting in that 6-2 defense. Let's see what they pull this time if they go back to that long pass again.
Yeah, it looks like
Yeah, they're doing that up again. This time Alexander's got him covered.
Nice.
Yes.
Jared Alexander.
See, that's what I say, Donnie. These guys got to learn, and they got to learn from the mistakes.
Right.
That time he covered that real well.
Yeah, that was a good recovery.
Well, now London's going to go on offense with the ball. They're bringing in their number 2s. So that'll probably mean Jared Alexander, quarterback, I assume. Of course, where I work at, you're not supposed to assume anything.
Why are you assuming that, man?
Look, they got Eddie Hamilton going in at number 27.
Number 27, what is his name, Donnie? Eddie Hamilton. Now, I believe he run tailback for the freshman team last year.
He was pretty fast.
And
He was on that team that went to the state in track.
And I do believe that he had a pretty fine season running the ball, even though they had a bad record. I watched a couple of their ball games, and he had a pretty fine season of running the football.
And he ran reserves last year. He may have run some freshman, but he played with reserves.
Donnie, I can't remember so much water being out on this field. Can you?
Nope. Nope. He didn't have any water, man.
I do. Kind of scary.
Yeah, it is.
Only time we ever saw any water is when we ran over to the creek.
They didn't let you drink it either. You just,
Oh, no,
just
no.
stick around
The only
your
thing
house.
water was on our sideline for was looks,
That's it.
in case somebody walked around and wanted to know if we had water.
See, a new day, though. They changed everything.
And that's the law, too. You better give him water. Donkey wants water. Hold him, Joe.
That's something I ain't never used to either. Players down there talking to their dads.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Of course, it's preseason.
I think we had old quart bottles of milk quart bottles. They put water in and carried them out on the field.
You know what they used to preach? Salt tablets. Well, now they're telling you that these salt tablets do more dehydrating than they do anything.
They say now, so they, who knows who's right.
The guy that we used to have as a coach used to preach that salt tablet stuff, and I think we used to try to hide them things after we got them.
But it was definitely don't drink no water, man. You couldn't drink any water. Rinse your mouth out, and that's it.
Great to sit up here and reminisce with some guys that went through the same thing as I did. I'll tell you what, we got a fine turnout tonight for a scrimmage game.
Running out of the huddle, Jared Alexander, quarterback, number 2 flanker, and Eddie Hamilton at wide out.
You got Clerk at tailback.
And Clerk at tailback.
I'll tell you what, Donnie, both these teams look basically about the same on defense. They're both running that 6-2 defense. Looks pretty standard. I saw Miami Trace shift into a 4-3 at one time.
Yeah, one time. I saw that myself.
I'm going to try. Yep. I've seen Miami Trace shift into a 4-3 a couple of times, but basically they're running with a 6-2. And kind of look like a mirror looking at London and Miami Trace both.
They're keeping that safety back, 6-2-2-1. Alexander over center. At quarterback. He's back to pass.
Oh, fine pass! Fine pass!
Beautiful pass. He should have.
I'll tell you, that time Miami Trace moved into a 4-3. I think they was trying. They knew the pass was coming. They moved into a 4-3.
Thought he had him.
I'll tell you what, Alexander put the mustard on that bird. See, that's two. You got these game conditioned, Donnie. You got to get that timing down. Kahn throwed some pretty fine passes deep and down the middle.
You got North wide out now, and number 2, Murray.
Oh, we got Clerk going up the middle. He might go all the way. And he's got tackled by a shirt.
He's got tackled by his jersey. That boy's pretty fast. Beautiful play.
Now, that's another thing that used to be when you and I played, Donnie, was the shirt tail was tucked in.
If his shirt had been tucked in, he would have been gone.
Amen.
What'd you say? If he had his shirt tail, he wouldn't have got caught.
That's right.
That's the same thing Sonny said.
These guys have got it. We sat up here and we talk about this old-time stuff, but, buddy, some of this old-time stuff that Coach Bolus used to teach us is some stuff that these guys ought to use nowadays.
Yeah, because that was a touchdown all the way.
You got to get these shirts back in the pants, and you got to get them tightened up.
Give him something to grab on, that.
I'll tell you what, one more step, he was gone. That was a fine run.
Yeah, it was. The boy's pretty fast.
We've been told that that some of these boys can run that 40 in about 4.5, 4.6 this year. Looked like he was ready to do it.
Alexander back to pass.
Nice.
And he's hit by about 2 or 3.
Looked like a breakdown in the middle of that line blocking again. I'll tell you what, Coach Emmett's going to have nightmares thinking about his quarterbacks getting hit that hard.
Loss is about 2-3 yards on the play.
You might find these guys doing some Sunday practicing if they can't block on Saturday.
Very wide receiver left, and number 20, North, on the right side, and Alexander over the center.
And Dorn in there at fullback.
Hand off to Dorn, and he picked up about 15, 20 yards on the play.
You know, if you guys can remember that Jonathan Alder game from last year when Dorn broke that 52-yarder at the end of the game, it looks like he might be able to do that again this year. Looks like London's got a fair stable of running backs, Don.
Yeah, they got some backup there. Some are pretty speedy too. That's the thing, you know. And strong boys.
Got a little break here. Now London's coming up to the line.
Double wide out. Number 8. I don't know who's that's a new one. Number 8. It's not on there.
Don't have a name. We got number 8 of wide out.
Alexander carry the ball. He's brought down on the line.
Got a flag in the middle of the line there. It's probably some type of holding when that flag gets thrown in there that hard. Looks like London tried to run that option play that time. Yeah, that was a big play they used quite a bit last year with Lester. Of course, with Lester's speed and Artist in there running that. I think that's what Artist broke that 90-yarder on that in that championship game there last year in the playoffs.
London's out of the huddle. Number 2 wide left. Number 8 wide right. Alexander, quarterback.
London still using that I formation.
Pitch out to Kirk on the right side. And he's tackling on, he pick up maybe about a yard or two.
You know, Don, that's the same thing we was talking about Mike. You got to learn to cut that up.
Cut it.
You can't keep running to the sidelines.
The boy, he's pretty fast boy.
You know, one thing, though, you move up into the varsity ranks, so you're going to find out that the other teams have got the speed just the same as you do.
Same as you, yeah, right, that's true.
You know, there was time there last year when London outclassed a lot of teams with their speed, but when we moved into the playoffs, we found out that there was other teams that had just as much speed as we did.
London out of the huddle with number 8 wide left and number 2 wide right. Alexander at quarterback, Kirk at tailback, and Teal, or is that Dorn at fullback. Pitch out to Kirk, going around off left tackle for no gain.
It looked like Miami Tracers getting some pretty good line play. They're surging pretty good in that middle.
Looks like Kirk was hurt on the play.
Yeah, we got him. Got a little
wind knocked out of him, maybe.
Little sting there. Yeah, wrist. I think it's his wrist, not it?
He's holding his wrist. He's holding his stomach.
And one thing too, you find out here in these games how hard they really do hit. Because a lot of times in practice, the guys kind of take a little pity on you.
See, the other guys don't know who you are, so they're not going to take any pity on you. Yeah, when you're playing against another team.
I'll tell you what, we got a real good turnout here tonight. Looks like a good 400, 500 people here tonight to watch this scrimmage game.
London out of the huddle. Number 2 flank left. Wide right is number 8. Alexander over center.
That looks like Miami Trace is setting in a 4-3 right now.
Alexander hands off to, who is it?
Number 6, whoever it was.
You know, if I'm a running back and I keep getting
no gain, he was caught behind the line of scrimmage.
Keep getting stopped in the backfield like that, you know, might be willing to say something to a few linemen.
Number 6, Brian Harris.
Well, I don't know if it was a delayed type play or not, but it looked like the back was waiting for him to get the ball instead of advancing toward the line.
Yeah, it very well could have been a draw play that didn't develop too well.
Yeah, I believe that was a draw.
I wish we could give you some more numbers here.
Back in the game, he's wide left, and number 8 is wide right. Alexander is quarterback. Alexander back to pass to Eddie Hamilton. He's completed. And I believe he's tackling on about the 3-yard line.
I tell you, that was a fine comeback by Eddie and made a nice grab. I'll tell you what, it looks like London's going to have a fine bunch of receivers this year.
I tell you what, if Eddie gets about 2 steps on you, forget it, he's gone. Eddie only ran about 2 or 3, about a couple steps behind Lester.
Well, you know, you got
Is that really right?
Yeah.
Is that fast?
Eddie out there and Mike Harris and this clerk. I think you guys are going to see a lot of speed out of London this year.
Those guys seem to be clicking together pretty good this second unit.
Well, you know, that's one good thing. These boys have probably played together for a few years. I know last year Jared had a real good reserve game, and
Wideouts left and right, number 2 and number 8. Number 2 is Murray. Alexander over center, the quarterback.
it looks like Miami Trace.
Handoff to
We got a fumble in there, and Miami Trace recovers.
There was a fumble on the play. Alexander handed off to 58.
We might have had a bad exchange error. I don't think he had that ball fully when he was coming through the line. We had a fine hit downfield on that play by number 8.
One thing we're going to find out this year is the fact that usually you try to get to settle in on a quarterback and maybe run him 2, maybe 3 years if possible. And you had ours for about 2, maybe 3 years. And now we got Colin for 1 year. And then if this stays that way, then you're going to have Alexander for 1 year next year. And it's very possible that Alexander may get a lot of playing time with the first team this year, where they'll end up moving him up. You know, so he'll be ready for next year. It's kind of hard to have a winning season without a seasoned quarterback.
Right. Otherwise, just having 1 year at quarterback with the team is not really good enough. You should have 2 or 3 years at least.
That's my thought.
I think remember the time that Woody Hayes did that with from Miami Trace.
Art Schleister in there and started him as a freshman and took Cornelius Green and put him out at wide receiver.
He was quarterback at the time, Green was. And he put him at that wide receiver and Schleister at quarterback, right?
And Green ain't never got over that.
Speaking of Ohio State, I think this is the first time in a long time that they've had a quarterback with any experience. Ohio State usually just sticks a guy in there as a senior.
Well, you know, Green was really a terrific quarterback at Ohio State. See, and then
the other kid from Texas, what was his name?
Well, you know, Cornelius Green started as a freshman also.
Yes, he did.
As a quarterback.
Yeah.
And then to get moved out as a senior.
Miami Trace has the ball now. We got 2 wideouts covered by number 2 and number 10. Number 2 is Murray, and number 10 is Langley. The quarterback handoff to hit.
A nice fill.
Tackle by a host of tackles.
Nice fill by the linebacker that time. What is that, number 43?
Number 43. Who is
They come in and fill that hole real nice.
Such is his name.
Such. That guy's getting a little bit of play here. We're calling his name quite a bit. You know, Noble played that linebacker position last year. He's got some experience in there. And I think his second team's going to show you that they're a little hungry here. This 43, I don't remember his name last year.
Miami Trace is double wide out. He's number 26. His defensive safety. Quarterback back to pass. Overthrown.
And Miami Trace keeps doing that out and up.
Covered by Murray.
I don't know if they're going to do it until they get it right or how they're going to do it here, but they keep throwing that ball out to that side. I think we had pretty good coverage on that play, didn't we, Don?
Mm-hmm. Good coverage.
I tell you what, though, had the pass been on the money, it'd been a touchdown.
Yeah.
Coverage was close, but the kid had a step and a half on it.
We're seeing a lot of things that London needs to work on, especially the defensive back play.
Wide right. Covered by Langley. And the shift that they have. Quarterback handoff, off tackle to number 44. He's tackled by number 58.
I tell you, that play gained about 2 yards, but it looked like it was going to gain about 15.
That was a quick hit.
That linebacker stuck with that one.
Yeah, he was right on him.
Boy, I wish we had these guys'
I
names.
can't call his name, number 58. That was a good tackle.
Don't worry about it tonight because most of this is not going to make the air anyway. Dog Mars asked me not to put this on, but I wanted you guys to do it to get the feel of it and get the feel of each other.
I'll tell you what, I
we'll
really
have names by next week.
Really enjoying
next
myself
game.
here.
We got another kid coming that was with us last year, and he'll fill in. He knows a lot of players.
Off tackle. That was really over guard, over center. You know, you got to stick around with it because if you got to keep your mind on a lot of time. You know?
Yeah.
If you get you glance off for a second, you start talking.
Well, you know, I'm so used to standing over with all the guys yelling and screaming. This is a big change for me.
Yeah, I was wondering how you was going to handle that.
You know, my oldest brother does a lot of TV up north there, does a lot of radio and a lot of TV. And I was talking to him last week about this, and he told me that was one of his biggest mistakes when he first started. He used to do the sideline.
Yeah.
That was it. He'd be screaming on the microphone, "Why did you run that play? Why did you run that play?"
Yeah.
I would chase out the huddle.
He told me to kind of keep a little low key.
Yeah, I was going to talk to you about something. I've been listening, and you've been doing some coaching. And
hand off tackle to number 40.
There's a way of doing it.
The hole pretty fast.
But it can't be actually coaching.
About 8 yards on the play, maybe.
I want everything to be on a positive, upbeat.
Right. Okay.
I'm listening to you and trying to talk at the same time. That's kind of hard, isn't it?
See, I was wondering.
Well, right now, don't worry about what we're doing.
I was wondering if you had a format for us guys to follow, or.
Basically, what we did was, if I heard somebody was talking, I never cut. I just let them go ahead and talk. And then when they finished, see, like, nah, shut up.
Back to pass a flat pass, or he got behind him. That was a bad.
So I guess it's kind of hard to take the coach out of the announcer here.
Well, what happens when you do that is you get the coaching, and you get to overdoing what the coach is doing.
Right.
And then it comes out like we're cutting him down. He don't know what he's doing, and that's something we have to be careful about. It's okay to maybe, I would run this player, run that once in a while, but to just undermine what he's doing, really, it doesn't go across very good. You get a lot of bad people.
Yes. Out the huddle, they got a double wide out, covered by Eddie Hamilton. Off tackle play, which is fumble. And London had possession.
I believe they're going to call that out of bounds to Black. Out of bounds to Black.
So?
Yeah, because I think the last guy got onto it was Black out of bounds. You know, I think this is the farthest we've seen Miami Trace move the ball down the field, Donnie.
Yes, it is. I think that one time when we first started, I believe they got this far once.
Yeah, I think we're down here running with some of the second and third team players right now.
We're going to shut her down, gang. We've got enough for what we're going to do.
Sounds great to me.